when I looked at the company, there was burnout. And we had the luxury of having employees with 4 year, 6 year, 8 year tenure, and they were burned out. And someone pointed me to a study, which I thought was brilliant, that said burnout is a combination of three things: physical exhaustion, a lack of agency, and a lack of wins. And so people who love to talk about culture will talk about communications and supporting your team. But at the end of the day, they need wins, right? And so we had to design a plan where it was clear that we could have some early wins and multiple wins, because then working hard doesn't get you burned out. You stay exhilarated because, hey, I'm delivering wins every week or two.
At least we got some wins. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't hear about stories in Apple or in Nvidia or Netflix where people just get burned out because they're just continuously winning, right? And those companies work insanely hard. And the difference is you've got to measure people and you've got to give them a chance to have wins in whatever period is relevant to them, the weekly, monthly, quarterly. Some teams have natural cadence and some you have to create cadence. But defining goals that are achievable is key. And in our case, the board wants a successful outcome. And they explicitly gave me the latitude to set the plan. And they want to see, and they know that the win will take time, a successful outcome will take time. And there is kind of a timeline, but I set the plan in order for us to have early wins and often wins.
Yeah, so I have to ask, what's a reasonable plan, Mark?
I looked at the trajectory of the company. I looked at what I thought was within reach based on recent quarter success, looked at our organization, and I used some analytical approaches in our tooling to come up with, let's start with what can we do with growth of existing logos and wins in new logos, and set a plan that I thought was frankly had cushion in it enough that we could achieve it. And then after setting the top line, figuring out what the operating expenses need to be to really hit our bottom line. And we're operating in a cash flow neutral to cash flow positive business, and we intend to keep it that way.
Now, when people set plans like this, there's always this tension. You set a goal that's achievable, you get there, but you might have set a goal too low, and people get excited. They've met the goal, but you could have done, if you're here, you could have done here. Talk about that.
So I think of the metaphor, which maybe millennials will never understand, because it's the metaphor of driving a manual transmission car, of working the clutch and the accelerator, right? Finding where that traction happens. And so I look at what we think our sales trajectory will be, and we plan our operating expenses and our resources to be underneath that. And we want the market to pull us up. We want to be catching up with demand. The great hidden secret is that even in every great successful company and the huge, wonderful winners out there, there's chaos in all of them. It's not that the bad startups are chaotic and the ones, the Salesforces of the world, were just smooth sailing from start to finish. There's always chaos. But the chaos that you want is you want to be having to catch up with demand. You don't want to be over your skis from an operating expense and from an organizational perspective. And so I plan, both from a financial standpoint and an organizational standpoint, to be resourced just under our expectations and then grow into it. So we're always lagging a little bit.
Yeah, the easiest problem to solve is you don't have enough resources to meet your demand, right? It's a much, much more difficult problem to solve going the other way, isn't it?